Hello, hello. Lovely to be with you today. Thank you for being here with me. And I thought that I would start today with some poetry. Now, Janice, one of our regular well-loved yogis, asked if the poetry could return because I'd left it out for a little bit. And so I did over the last couple of weeks. And then Angela, who comes and does the yoga here with me, she has told me about a poem that she discovered because of the Poetry Health Service website, which I'd never heard about before actually. And it's a community funded website where you answer questions about maybe colours, for example, and they prescribe a poem for you. So this has come from that service, and I'll share that with you now. And it's called Becoming by Aisha Sharif. Don't ever believe your body can't bloom too. Your eyes, your breath, your chest opening in the sun. A never-ending trellis of faith. Don't ever believe that you can't climb up, step out, and blossom into your own beauty. I'm going to read that again, and I'd like you to really listen to every word in a real focus of attention kind of way, and see if you hear anything different from the words. Becoming. Don't ever believe your body can't bloom too. Your eyes, your breath, your chest opening in the sun. A never-ending trellis of faith. Don't ever believe that you can't climb up, step out, and blossom into your own beauty. So thank you to Angela for sharing that. And if anyone wants to have a look at that Poetry Health Service website, it might be a useful thing. And today, if you'd like to come to a sitting position when you're ready, and you can sit on something high. If that helps your knees drop down a little lower than the hips, or a couple of cushions on the edges, the edges of the cushions, so that it kind of gives you a sort of a little edge of platform to sit the sitting bones, the tailbone, and the very much of the back of the pelvis on. And this process, I know I've said it in the email about it doesn't. This first practice doesn't really work with contact lenses in, and if you could take glasses off as well, that would be really useful. I thought that eye yoga was increasingly important to bring into our practice with all the computer usage that must, for probably, I suspect, all of us, ramped up in the last period of our lives, unless you've managed to escape it. So with the eye yoga, with our sitting position, you can do this lotus, cross leg, wide leg, Baddha Konasana, where the feet come together and the knees move out to the side. You can sit on a chair, and sitting on the edge of the chair is quite useful because then the spine can become really tall. And to begin with, we're going to close eyes, if you can close your eyes, and then just bring your hands to the eyes and let the fingers cross over in the brow, in the forehead area, and let the nose remain exposed, not squashed from the hands. And then just feeling the air coming in through the center of the face and through the nostrils into the body and out. And then just watching the air flowing for a little while as you really allow the shoulders to rest, even though the hands are being held on the face. Allowing your jaw to become soft in the process. And width in the back of the neck, the back of the skull. And feel the palms of your hands soften in the warmth that they might be conveying to your eyes. Aware of your exhalation. Aware of your inhalation. And allowing your eyes to open, slowly blinking a few times into your palms. Letting your fingers spread so that the light just slowly comes in. And then drawing your hands down onto your lap. And as you look ahead, just tilting your head, your ears, your right ear towards the right shoulder, and then coming up taller, and then tilting the left ear towards the left shoulder, and then coming up taller, sinking the chin slightly, and then just focusing on something ahead of you. Something that you can remain your focus on. And allow yourself to blink when you need to blink so that it's not a fixed stare at any point. And when you've found that something, you bring your hands up, you just allow your arms to float up and your shoulders, and we just begin to move the fingers in the peripheral vision. And so this is above, below, to the side, all around. This movement of the fingers. And feel your breath flowing in, flowing out. Keep looking at your spot. And if you've gone off into something else, if your mind has taken you off somewhere else, just bring it right back and focus. And you want to be seeing the movement of your fingers in the peripheral vision throughout. And remember to receive your breath, to allow the breath to move in and out. And as your arms come down and your fingers come down, your shoulders can take that break and have that release. And as the fingers move out to the side, you can notice your shoulder blades beginning to widen and expand. Sense your beautiful long spine in this position as you keep focusing on your spot. And it's fine for your fingers to go further and further out. Now I'm really used to doing this practice and my eyes are used to it as well. And so I'm finding that I'm needing to move my fingers further and further out. The more, as the moments go by. And what's happening is my eye muscles are lengthening. And because they get very short and tight from all the computer, phones, iPads, etc. So my eye muscles are just lengthening easily, and I can still see my fingers moving in my peripheral vision. Now, your hands might be here, they might be out here. Doesn't matter where they are, just as long as you can see that movement. And you might find that from below, it's very, very different from the above to the below to the side. And then bring your hands down, close your eyes and place your hands back on, the palms back on. Warm palms, warming your eyes. Softening the muscles around within the lips, the tongue, underneath the jaw. Really feeling the in-breath coming in and the out-breath flowing out. And you can notice the sound of your breathing. Now I noticed then with mine that it was a little loud as I was exhaling. And these louder breaths, the sighs are totally fine. And then we just see if we can make less and less effort with the breathing, with your breathing. And then opening your eyes into the palm, letting the fingers start to spread so the light begins to gently touch the eyes, so your eyes have time to adjust. And then bringing the hands down and focusing on another point and allowing the eyes to relax, blink when they need to, as you completely focus this sort of fixed point of awareness on your new spot, allowing your spine to grow tall and feeling your sitting bones on the ground, allowing your chin just to sink a fraction to reveal the space in the back of the skull, and to lift your arms and shoulders with awareness so the shoulder blades start to move out from either side of the spine, and then we start to wriggle the fingers again. And keeping your awareness on your spot, it's so easy to come off it and start to think about something else. I know I just did that. So go back to it, focus. What's interesting about the thing that you're looking at? What colours, shadows, shapes do you see? Breathe. Feel that avenue through your being. Feel your heart space in the center of the chest as the arms flow up, the elbows widen, wriggling of the fingers underneath you, around. Is there a change? Do your fingers go higher and higher? Do you still see them? And underneath, still looking at your spot as you breathe. And release your arms down, sit tall, and bring the palms to the eyes. for this final time. I'm not going to be here very long this time, just as a grounding the eyes after the change that might be triggered from the eye yoga. And then opening your eyes into your palms, letting the fingers come apart. And then we come back to awareness of the sitting bones, awareness of the spine, and from here I'd like you to go down onto the ground, lying on the ground when you're ready. So, take your time to arrange yourself. Just arrange the camera. As you rest on the floor, just feeling your feet settling, sensing if you can find an equality of connection, back of the head, underneath the shoulders, behind the ribs, behind the waistline, underneath the pelvis, under the arms and the feet. And allow the breath to move inside, and the exhalation as a natural consequence, just flowing in and out as we just accept the changes, anything that may have happened from the eye yoga. And allowing shoulders to sink, shoulders to rest, and to lift and spread your toes and take the toes very wide, and then allowing the toes to move back down and drawing the knees up over the belly, holding the knees so that the thighs have time to sink down towards the earth and the weight of the thighs given to the ground. Gently sway side to side. At the same time, a smile comes across within the face, just smiling to relax the facial muscles and to notice the forehead area and behind the forehead area, as this area, this space here, maybe just feel an exhalation underneath the forehead. And draw back to the center. And the head settles, the chin settles, and then the feet settle to the earth. Heel first if possible, and the heels land, and then the soles of the feet spread. Your arms move out to the height of the shoulders, turning the palms to the sky, breathing in as the elbows sink as you exhale, letting your wings settle underneath you as the heart space releases. And then inhale, out breath, the arms float off the ground and hug across the chest. And the elbows, the arms, imagine the arms all the way around to the shoulders are like a ring, and it's like a hug that lifts one shoulder off the floor and then the other shoulder off the floor. So you're kind of moving the elbows over to the left and then over to the right and over to the left, over to the right. And just seeing what's possible with that movement as you breathe and plant your feet stronger to the earth. And then your hands can slide onto the elbows. So one elbow holds one hand holds one elbow, one hand holds the other, and then this ring of movement moves from left to right. So this ring all the way through to the back of the body. So it's like the upper arms are lifting up out of the shoulders as you breathe, and just seeing which direction the head wishes to move to. Seeing which direction. Lifting and rolling, and the arms start to go further and further back over the face incrementally, and it takes time for this movement to flow, for the arms to flow over the chin, for the arms to then flow over the nose, for the armpit space to begin to open and lengthen, for the side ribs to start to expand and grow, the spaces in between them, as the arms move over the forehead, over the front of the skull, over the top of the skull, and the head can become still now as the arms just flow further and further and further behind with your breath, with your loving breath. And the front of the body sinks as the arms travel down. And then you, as they rest behind the head, and they can come apart, the hands can come apart to enable you to give up the tension in the shoulders. And allow the arms to move back to the height of the shoulders. Palms facing upwards, and gently turning the head from side to side. So it increases, the movement increases each time you turn from one side to the other. as if you're growing the neck, the spaces in between the neck vertebra, and the breath fluid. It takes time to release all the way through to the top vertebra, the atlas and the axis. Feel the air flowing around these top vertebrae, as if opening a new roof space into the sky. That light flooding into the head and into the forehead, as the head then settles back to the center. As the head rests in line with the spine, just sensing the mouth slightly open, the tongue wide, and the roof of the mouth wide and lifted, cavernous. Float the arms up at the end of the next exhalation with a sense of the other elbow on top this time. And as you come to hold yourself in this self-hug, lifting the one shoulder off the ground and then lifting the other shoulder off the ground, and just feeling any movement that's possible within the shoulders. As you breathe, and then as you become still for a moment, settle the shoulders down, wide, breathe, feel the feet, and then hold the elbows with the opposing hands. And then begin to draw the upper arms up and then over to one side, and then up and back to the center, and just keeping this flow of movement. And relax your heart space in the center of your chest. Let it become soft and yet fluid, eased. Let the ground take your heaviness away. Let your exhalation allow you to transform. Any burdens can now drop. As the arms begin to travel and shadow over the throat, over the chin, over the mouth, the nose, and the sides of the ribs begin to expand, and the side of the body begins to awaken, going further and further back with each breath that you focus on. And softening within, your organs can rest, your bones can rest, and the fascia, the covering of the muscles, can rest. And that's why this gentle movement is so important, and why we can heal damage that may have occurred through rushing or pushing, or if you're a runner or a cyclist, or if you do any really full-on speed exercise. This is all really valuable to heal the covering of the muscles, and to heal trauma, any trauma that could be, on whatever level. So just allowing until the arms are ready to rest behind. And then the spine might be wanting some movement the other end. So just let the knees just rock side to side, getting the lower part of the spine moving. So we begin to, really find your flow through movement. Breath. Then drawing back to the center. And the knees float up over the belly, and the hands lift to the sky and to the knees. And touch the knees, and the head turns to the left. The left arm travels down. And we're going to practice a spiral with a slightly different emphasis of the right knee just leads the way with the spiral. So the right knee leads the way. Of course, the left will follow, but the right knee and the left knee could lift a little, and the right can just keep on going, traveling, 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 traveling. And then the top knee can then settle. And both of the arms out at the height of the shoulders. And then just lifting that top knee just a few inches, and then release it down again. And just softening through the body and feeling within the belly, the air within the belly that expands, the air within the belly that releases out. And then sense the left side of the body. The left side of the body which is free, and really it can really expand to receive the air. And can you feel the change within the ribs, the expansion through to the armpit space? And does this then touch the collarbone on the left side? And then notice the back. And then to return, we're going to allow that top knee to float a little off the bottom. Any cushions can come out now. And rise them right higher. That's lovely. And then gather the belly muscles, and with the knees a little wide, rising up if that feels okay. And then just holding the knees with the hands. And just settling into little boat for a moment. Or just holding the knees and resting as the chin relaxes and the tongue spreads. And then we'll travel in the opposite direction. So you might need the cushion that side if you want one. The head turns to the right. The right arm lengthens and expands down And you relax the inside, the inner part of the arm, as well as letting the bones rest and the hands. And then allowing the legs to travel, but the left leg is leading. The left leg is leading, and the right knee is going to follow. The right leg is going to follow. So you can, and then you could lift that top knee, that top thigh, and just rise it up and then sink it down. And then feel the breath expanding within the chest, within the belly. And the side of the body, feel the breath touching here. Expanding air into the back body. Freeing up through the shoulders. How do we free up? With the air accessing inside and the ground taking your weight, and the grounding absorbing tensions, burdens, heaviness, and changing your energy, shifting your energy. And the right arm that's out to the side can just lift all the way over to find yourself lying on your side. And in a moment or two, we're going to prepare to move into a sitting position with wide legs if possible. Wide legs. Sitting on a raise so that the knees can be a little lower than the hips, would you like to face forward for this one? You could sit on a blanket if you prefer, if you want a wider, and then the wide leg sitting position. And then we're just going to go straight into closing eyes and just getting really into the feeling of the pelvis sinking to the earth and to the breath. And just touching the thighs, drawing your hands onto your thighs and pressing the thighs down to encourage weightedness through the legs, really pressing strongly down on the thighs. And then around the pelvis, the sides of the pelvis, pushing down through the flesh, through to encourage the bones, the heavy pelvis to sink and travel to the earth with the sitting bones, feeling the sitting bones and their connection, and drawing tall through the spine as the arms just rest comfortably on the lap. And imagine that your head is in a glass box and you're just moving your head forward to the front of the glass box. So not so much the body, but the eyes would be looking forward still, So imagine there's a string on the top of the head, and the chin is just very slightly down, and you're just literally drawing the head forward, so that the face is getting closer. So rather than the head tipping down, the head is just going directly forward, and the body stays still, and it's just the head that goes forward, and then the head draws back, and the back of the skull touches the glass behind you. And then again, going forward, the face, that's it, you got it. And breathe, and drawing the back of the head to the box behind. And release your jaw, relax inside your ears, and then draw the head back to the center. Head back to the center, sitting up tall and long. And then your right ear is just going to travel towards your right shoulder. And breathe, just releasing through that left side of the neck. Breath flowing naturally throughout. And then allowing the head to imagine someone's taking hold of the hair at the top of your head and leading you to bring your head back up to the center. And then this time the left ear is going to go towards the left shoulder. Breathe, and just give time to release through that right side of the neck. Relax inside the ears. Inhale, and then draw in a center, lifting up as if somebody's drawing you back, so you've come up taller. And then I'd like you to do a figure of 8 on its side, with the chin, with the head. So it's like drawing a figure of 8. So you're sitting up tall. Have a look at me for a moment. So we're just drawing a figure of 8 with, now you can join in and draw, so the body stays fairly still, but it's the head that's drawing the figure of 8 on its side. So it's like this kind of movement, this movement, drawing figure of 8, crossing that middle point, with the head moving back to that glass box behind, to the side, forward, crossing the center point. And release. And then allow your spine to grow tall as your left knee bends, and your left foot goes into the inside of the thigh, and the knee drops onto the floor. And just sinking, and if you want to use any of the cushions, then feel free, so that the knee can sink down. So I'm going to have to ask you to, if you could sit on the blanket as well, Angie, so that the knee can attempt, you might want to put the block on top of the blanket even, or even that blue thing, and get really high. But you might not like the blue thing, it's up to you. So that we can get the height up, and then the knee, that's it, the knee can go down. So, if I had more and more props, I'd probably put another blanket underneath, so that the knee could drop down lower than the hip. And breathe, and let the breath flow as you sit tall. And I'm just going to get Angela to lean over to the right and leaving that hand on the leg, and the other one can go onto the ground by the side of you, and just leaning over through the body so that we can just open up through that left hip space, and your right arm can bend if it needs to, as you just lean over, lean and lean and lean, and the other hand presses on the leg to draw the leg down, and we just really sort of open up through that side hip. And breathing as you do so, leaning and flowing over and over to try and get that space, and the pelvis sinks, and then gently rising back to the center. And the hands, the right hand then and the left hand comes on to the long leg, and then just sitting down into the pelvis, and we want to keep the head in line with the spine as you sit down into the pelvis, and then just take the arms forward. Lovely, because you've kept your head in line with the spine, and we're just playing with taking the hands up and down the leg. You can soften the elbows and make a very fluid, sort of flowing movement down towards the foot. And then you can stay down a little and just seeing whether the the hands want to come up or whether they want to go further down as you sink through the pelvis and grow through the front of your body and towards that foot. And then gently rising up through the spine. And allow your bent leg to straighten out and change, so the cushion goes under the other leg, which bends, and just sinking. That looks a good position actually. The knee is sunk down, the right knee is sinking down, but also the left side of the pelvis is also sinking, and the sitting bones, and letting the spine go really tall, and taking the left arm over to the left side and leaning over to that side, just allowing the and your right hand can hold on to the leg and draw the knee down as we're trying to connect into the right side of the pelvis and into the hip joint area. Just seeing if there's a kind of a sort of pinch point where you don't want to go any further within that hip, and by weighting down through the hand and through that leg, just bringing space and golden warm oil into that hip. Breath. And then gently rising up, growing tall. And both hands coming onto the long leg. And just flowing the hands up and down the leg as you ground through the pelvis. As you ground and flow through the pelvis, relaxing your neck and shoulders, And just feeling the top of the skull is being drawn upwards to bring all that lovely space into the neck and into the spine as the weightedness of the pelvis drops to the earth. And you can rest, you can stop at that point where it might feel comfortable, just to kind of ease yourself into that softening. And then gently breathing yourself back up to tall and long. And allowing your other leg to straighten out and just allow the heels to sort of tap on the floor as the knees bend. Just allowing that flow to come in. And then you can release that and bring the legs together as the left knee comes into the chest. And just holding that left knee and sitting tall. And breathing. And then you're going to spiral over to the, what side that, Angie? To the left side, and the left arm goes behind the body and the crook of the right elbow holds around the knee, and just sort of draws around the side of the leg maybe. And then there's a lazy look over the left shoulder. And the long leg on the floor really plants down with the toes wide. And feel the weight of the pelvis sinking as you grow up through the body. And just breathe under the collarbones. Releasing through the throat. Feel that avenue of space through the throat. And then gently spiraling back to the center and just going the other way for a moment. Just moving the arm in front. So the left arm goes in front of the left leg. The right arm. So that you were fine. What you were doing was fine. The arm in front that's holding the bent knee, that could come in front of the knee. So the elbow goes in towards the thigh or across the belly. And breathe. And sinking the pelvis down, growing through the spine. And the long leg on the floor growing and the toes widen. Inhale and then gently drawing back. And then elongate the bent leg. And release any way you need to. And we change the other knee bends. So the right knee comes in. And we just hold that leg as you sit very tall. And now we're going to spiral in the opposite direction. We're going to flow behind. So the right arm behind goes behind the sacrum and draws onto the ground. And the front arm holds around the hook of the elbow, holds around the knee. Or that elbow, that arm can bend and the fingers can point to the sky. Like this, Angie. But the elbow is on top of the knee or slightly in front of the knee. in front towards the radiator front. That's it. And a lazy look over the right shoulder, or you can just hold it as you were before. I'm just giving variations really. Or you can just hold around the knee as you were before. And we're grounding through the pelvis, lifting through the spine, slightly dropping the chin, breathing. And then slowly revolving back to the center and settling back into the pelvis before you travel to the other side. When you feel ready. Excuse me. On the other arm, the front arm comes across the knee, across the body, even across the belly. The back hand supports, and what's really important is that the lower back doesn't sink and bear and roll. It needs to lift through the waistline, lift behind the heart, lift through the neck, lift through the head to the crown, and breathe. And when you're ready, you can just slowly come back to the center. You can undo that leg, you can take the leg wide, both legs wide, both hands on top of the thighs. And if you wish to, you can just lean forward as the hands slide down the legs, head in line with the spine, chin down a little. And breath. And then drawing the hands back up the legs. And just practicing that glass box again. Your head in the glass box and just the head going forward. It's a bit like a chicken, that kind of lengthening of the neck forward. And then the back of the head goes to the back of the glass box. And front back to the front of the box. Slowly moving to the back of the box. Back to the center. And then let the left ear go to the left shoulder. Breathe and lift. And the right ear goes to the right shoulder. And lift. And in a few moments, when you feel ready, we're going to come up to a standing position. And this is where the wall space is going to be needed behind. So I'm just going to be moving the camera again. So bear with me as I... You might just want to move those wires a bit or move the completely behind. That's lovely. So we're looking for a side. So if we have a look at the feet first, because I'm going to have to move the camera in different ways. So the feet are just settling underneath the hips. And then if I move it back, might get... And just coming into your breath as you stand. Feeling your feet. And then you're going to take your right arm onto the wall. And just let both shoulders ease as you stand. And let your little toes move out to the side. And then as you breathe in and then exhale, the arm travels behind to 11 o'clock. Now this is where this practice, I call it the wall clock, we allow, you really follow your own body. So for some of us, we'll be able to move further and further, and others not. It just depends what's happening with the shoulders. And we just breathe into that for a few moments. And then the hand slides again behind to 10 o'clock. And we're just opening up through that right collarbone and just easing the left shoulder down. If you've got any pins and needles, just come back, to the 12 o'clock again. And so we just stay for a few seconds in this openness. And then the arm travels further back to 9 o'clock. And we just attempt to keep the body facing forward and dropping our weight through our legs and letting the other shoulder ease and soften. And then bring the arm back to 10, to 11, to 12, and forward all the way down. And then turning in to face the room. And just, if you feel okay, do you feel okay to do a forward bend? Sure. And if you don't, we can just go straight to the other side. Inhale, spreading the toes, softening the knees, and traveling into the forward bend. And here we can just ease the weight of the body down through the feet. Stay as long as you wish, or if you want to come up at any point, just gather the belly and roll up through the spine. And then when we've come up, just looking forward, just seeing what you notice all around. And then turning to the other side. Maybe stepping forward a little, moving. So here we are in the mountain again. The feet are just just underneath the sitting bones. And imagine your feet are like Buddha's feet. They're really, really wide on the floor. And just dropping through both shoulders and yet feeling the width through both shoulders. And then allow the left arm to go onto the wall and planting the hand, spreading the fingers. Inhale. You might need to go just a little bit further forward, just kick the light forward, just because of the picture behind. And then with both shoulders easing down, just begin the wall clock from 12 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Resting in this, breathing in this. And then allow the heels to sink. sliding to 10 o'clock. Now, one shoulder might be different to the other. So do know that you can, come back to 12 o'clock if you've got raging pins and needles, for example. Do what you need to do to allow this to work for you. And then from 10 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And that lovely openness through the left collarbone. And just feel the air coming in through the face and expanding into the back of the head and into the back of the skull. Feel free to turn the head and neck to release if you need to. And then drawing the little toes out to the side. Reaching the hand back to 10 o'clock, to 11 o'clock, to 12 o'clock, and sliding the hand forward all the way down to the side of the body. Then you can face this way, just resting near the wall. Coming back to the breath. At this point, you could do another forward bend if you wanted to, or you can go straight into ground. Now the wall is there to help. You can actually lean against the wall if you want to, but you might not. It's up to you to help with the tree balance. So it depends what kind of day you're having, really. If you feel like you need a bit of support, things are a bit tricky, then the wall is there to assist you. And if not, you can stand well away from the wall, and you can find your length and space, and you can lift. You allow your right leg to really sink and make that connection into the ground. And then allow your left knee to rise up and float off the floor. So as I say, and then take the foot to the inside of the leg and let it touch either on the lower leg or inside of the thigh rather than the knee joint. And again, you feel free if you want to use the wall as in your back against the wall if you wanted to, and then the arms can float up, and you could try the arms there, drawing upwards straight for a moment, over the head, breath, and then the hands could come together in a prayer position, with the collarbones wide. And just exploring the tree. And as soon as you wish to come down, just bringing the arms down and doing the hands and doing the legs. And breath. And doing a few circles to release the pelvis in both directions. Free up through the pelvis. And if you want to, maybe if you had your back to the wall for this one, so the knee has space to move out to the side, inhale and allow the right knee to float up. So we're doing the other side now. We're grounding through the left leg first, and the toes widening, and then the right knee floats up and rests onto the leg, and we just allow the hip space to open as you breathe and focus on something in front of you. And then the arms can float straight up to the sky with the palms opposite each other for a few moments. And breathe. Fingers active, little fingers out, open, and then the hands can come together. Now, a variation for the tree is if the wobbles are really going, is you could put one foot on top of the other foot instead of having the knee all the way out to the side. So you can kind of create a balance that way, and then bring the arms over the head so that the elbows can go really wide. And there's a variation. Breath. And then coming down back into your mountain and settling. And then just starting to tap underneath the ribs with your fingers, underneath the collarbone, tapping with the fingers almost in a bit of a claw movement, and really tapping under the collarbones. And then tapping underneath the ribs, so underneath the chest, tapping underneath the ribs with a claw-like movement with the fingers, really tapping. And you can do this quite hard. And if there's any sore spots, then tap a little bit harder on them. See if we can release. And then doing the thymus thump, either side of the sternum, thumping or gently thumping either side of the sternum, and this helps to develop vitality and gives a boost to the immune system. And then making your fingers into like a little, almost like a little claw with the fingers and the thumb together. And then you're going to just tap underneath the cheekbone in the center of each cheekbone, underneath the cheekbone, just tapping. It kind of relates to the meridians, the energy lines of the body, and this relates to the stomach, and just tapping here as you breathe. And then releasing the hands down and stepping forward a little. And then you're just going to lift one knee up and slap it with your hand, that same side, that's right, and release. And then the other lifts up and slap and change and slap and change and slap and change and slap. And just a few times lifting. And then you're going to do the opposite. So the left hand goes to the right knee, and then the opposite. And breathe. And release. And rest. And then stepping forward with your right foot. Maybe if I could get you to go further back towards onto the mat, towards the window, so I can get you in. And as you step forward, you're going to bend your front knee, and the back leg is going to remain straight, and the heel sinking into the ground and the toes spreading. And then allow the arms to float up to the sky with the palms opposite each other. And breathe. And then allow the arms to come all the way down to the sides of the body. And then lift again with your next exhalation. Feeling the shoulder blades expanding, widening. The base of the shoulder blades sinking. And then the arms draw down once more. And stepping back with the right foot. And stepping forward with the left foot. Allow the front knee to bend. The back leg is straight. The arms rising up to the sky with an awareness into the shoulders and into the spine as you make this movement. And then bring the arms back down. And the top of the head is drawn to the sky. Inhale. And then allow the arms to float up all the way back to the sky. Palms opposite each other. The front knee remains over the ankle and the back leg is lengthened with the foot to the floor. Breath. And then the arms are going to slowly return to the side of the body. And stepping back with the right foot, and just lift one knee and slap it with the hand, and the other, and the other, and the other, and rest. And then stepping forward with the right foot, and this time we keep the leg long, and breathe. And we're dropping our weight through that front leg as we come up onto the toes of the back foot. So the long leg is remaining straight. There's no bend in the knee. And now it all depends how we are. You know, for some of us it might be we're going to lift the arms to the sky. And we're going to see whether that back foot wishes to come off the floor as you pendulum into the warrior balance, into the balance. And the fingers are drawing forward. And the back heel is extending away. and we try to balance the pelvis behind. Now the arms attempt to stay near or around the ears. So have a play with lifting the arms higher if possible. How does it feel? And breathe. So imagine a magnet on the inside of the arms which is attracted to the ears or the side of the face. And then release. And as the foot comes down, the arm comes down, and we step back with the right foot and just shake the feet out. And you could do a forward bend at this point. You could circle the pelvis, just whatever it is you need to do. And just easing the spine, easing, easing, easing. And then gently rising up and stepping forward with the left foot. And the leg is going to remain long, a beautiful column of length. And then inhale when you're ready. And exhale the arms to the sky and come up onto the toes of the back foot, dropping your attention into that front leg and that standing foot. Spread the toes of the front foot. And then when you're ready, if you're ready, the pendulum might just take place. So rolling forward. Remember the arms are opposite the ears if possible. Now it depends on the balance. You might need the arms to go a little lower, but if they could go higher, then that's great. And that long standing leg is always really beneficial to the safety and the beauty of the warrior balance. And then releasing, undoing a forward bend. Rising up. And if you wanted to pause the video at this point and do a few dog poses or elbow dog poses, then feel free. But otherwise, we're going to go to the ground and we're going to sit, if possible. Lovely. Settle through the pelvis, close your eyes, and just coming back to your breathing. Breathing in through the heart space at the front of the body. Breathing out through the heart space at the front of the body. Breathing in through the heart space. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. I'm going to leave you with a practice which is called So Hum. And you're now going to breathe in to the silent word so, and breathe out to the silent word hum. And the silent sound lasts as long as your breath does. So the so as you inhale, the hum as you exhale. The so and the hum. And allow the so hum to dissolve away. And just rest now. You can lie down if you wish, as we come to the end of the practice, and a few minutes to absorb all that you have experienced would be great. As I say goodbye to you now. Thank you very much for watching and being part of this today. And I'll see you very soon. Bye for now. Lots of love.